Okay, next page on your review packet. We have another adding fractions question. Again, it's not a word problem, so all we have to do is just add them and see if we're going to get one of the answers that we have as our options. So 3/4 we know is more than 1/2. I'm adding 1/2 to it. So I'll make a really quick estimate. This answer, will it be more than a whole or less than a whole? Think about that for a minute. So this should be more than a whole because this is more than 1/2. I'm adding 1/2 to it. If it was 1/2 plus 1/2, I'd get a whole. I'm adding more than 1/2, so I'm going to get more than 1 whole. So that way I can kind of check. And actually that means that I can already cross off 2 answers. It shouldn't be 1/2. That doesn't make any sense anyway, right? If I am adding something to 1/2, it couldn't be that. It shouldn't be 2/3. 3/4 is already bigger than 2/3. So those are 2 that I can kind of cross off right away. And I know it'll probably be between 1 whole and 2 wholes, so both of these are still possible. So now we'll find my common denominator. I'm looking for a multiple of both 4 and 2 that they both share, and that multiple is, hey, 4. So I need to change 1/2 into 4ths. A lot of you might know this already, but if not, our old process still works. 2 times 2 is 4, so 1 times 2, 2/4. Now I'll rewrite my problem. 3/4 plus 2/4 is equal to 5/4. Uh-oh, this answer is not one of our options. So are we going to freak out about it and just say, okay, whatever, I'll just choose A? No, we are not going to freak out about it. We are going to rewrite this in a different form. 5/4 is the same as 4/4 plus 1/4, right? So that means that 5/4 is the same as 1 whole and 1/4. And that is one of our options, and that's it. Number 15, this problem is something we have never done anything like this before, but I was kind of hoping that you guys would use what you know about numbers and about operations and about what makes sense to kind of see if you could figure it out. So let's read it together. I want you to pause the video and think through it again if you don't have an answer, and then you can watch the answer. Each day, Milo reads 1/8 of his new book. So I hope you're picturing this little book. You don't have to draw it, but I'm going to draw a little book. And it's like, oh, it's this nice, I don't know, maybe it's Chasing Vermeer. Maybe he's reading along with us. And it has pages, and he's having a great time. And it's Chasing Vermeer. And you know, books, you don't read them in one day usually. It takes a little while. Okay. Which number sentence best represents the fraction of his book that Milo has read after 7 days? Okay, so will he have read his whole book? Well, no, the idea is that he hasn't read the whole book yet. So we haven't done any multiplication with fractions, and you guys might be feeling kind of freaked out by that. But let's make sense for a second first. Our 4 options of how much he's read so far are 1/56, 7/8, 1/56, or 7/8. So out of these 2 options, 1/56 or 7/8, which of them makes sense? So 1/56 is a teeny tiny amount. Every day he reads 1/8 of his new book. It wouldn't make any sense after 7 days for him to have only read 1/56. That's less than 1/8. So hopefully you guys notice that, and we can cross those out right away. Those answers can't be right. It wouldn't make sense for after 7 days for him to have read just this teeny tiny portion of his book. So now we only have these 2 options, and I can think about which of these makes most sense. So I know that multiplication means equal groups. It means that all the time. So does it make more sense for him to have read 1/8 equal groups of 1/7? Or I'm actually going to rewrite this even though it's not that way because I would like it better to be this. 7 equal groups of 1/8. And the 7, well, notice some of you might have just been like, well, there's a 7 in the problem, so that's probably it. But those are the 7 days, those are the 7 groups. So that is true. It is this answer. But it's because that's 7 groups, 7 days, each with 1/8 of the book. So it still fits with everything that we know about multiplication. So if you got letter D, give yourself a huge pat on the back. If you didn't, no big deal. We haven't done this. We haven't really talked about multiplying with fractions yet. So it's not a big deal. But if you got it, way to go.